About a week ago, I suddenly received a very intriguing message on Discord. I have a dev friend who will soon be releasing his game into 1.0. It's called Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum. Would you be willing to accept a key for it? What the hell is Welcome, weirdos, to another episode of You Should Play, a show where I hack into corporate offices to bring you the weirdest, spookiest, and most unique indie games I can find, and subsequently obsess over, and rant about why you should play them. For the past week, I've been utterly immersed in Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum, a brutally corporate cyberpunk debt-maxing, hacking and slashing, angel-attacking, reality-smashing immersive sim inside of a world that's puppeting the rotting corpse of late-stage capitalism. If that premise sounds at all interesting and coherent to you, then there's plenty of room in this rabbit hole for you to join me. Remember to like and subscribe if you like weird shit, and let's get right into today's episode.
If you're listening to this recording, then, whoops, you've tragically passed away in a terrible accident. It happens to the best of us. Don't worry, thanks to the generosity of the corporation and our advancements in medical technology,
you've been brought back to full working condition.
Can't afford the medical fees? Have no fear. The corporation has graciously transferred all debts
to your account.
And, to further extend our helping hand, you have been enlisted into our services to pay it off. The job may be dangerous, interest rates are up, and death comes at a hefty price. But rest assured that we will keep bringing you back again and again
and again and again
until your debts are paid. Congratulations, you're one of us now.
The world of Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum, much like the corporate world of today's society, is cold, treacherous, and unforgiving. While some games weave their broken society's flaws throughout the narrative, letting the influence of their dystopian horrors build over time, DDS instead takes the less than subtle approach of picking up the nearest brick, rehousing it inside your skull, and then charging you for the damages to that brick. The failings of capitalism are woven throughout the narrative and the world around you from the moment the game begins, with every mission, email, and interaction soaked in this flippant dystopian dread. However, through all of the pain, these characters you meet aren't boiled down to just miserable person being sad. Everyone has their own outlook on life within the corporation, and fun, unique personalities that shine through their struggles, because what looks like a dreadful way to live for us as viewers is, inside this world, just the average Tuesday. What makes DDS's world so horrifying isn't that brick of capitalism it bludgeons you with at the beginning. It's the normalization of that brick just sitting and festering inside of your skull. As you'll come to realize throughout this video, every aspect of the game was created with this fundamental struggle in mind. There's no reprieve from the vice grip of this dystopian world, no grand escape from society, no plot to dismantle the systems of oppression, just you and the people around you, trying to get by and pay off their debts. This brings us to the rather important part of talking about a game, the gameplay. While not an immersive sim in the traditional sense, this is probably the best way to distill the main experience that DDS provides in its gameplay. When taking on missions for the corporation, you have a multitude of potential playstyles for completing the job, and then even more ways to build your perfect setup within that playstyle. One of the main tools at your disposal is your trusty laptop, allowing you to hack into nearby doors, turrets, computers, and even people. This sounds and behaves simply at first, but once you start to test the limits of the game, you can play God with your keyboard without having to take a single step. Turn enemy defenses against them as you spread your influence across their network, take control of mines for the ultimate betrayals, and even hack into bullets to send them right back where they came from. I had so much fun sowing complete chaos with the laptop, and a lot of my builds throughout the game revolved around hacking in one way or another. Alongside this versatile set of systems, you can take any combination of ranged weapon, melee weapon, and grenade on each mission. There are countless variations of these weapons, each with their own stats, behaviors, noise levels, and degrees of lethality. If you're tired of enemies hiding behind cover, bring a gun that changes bullet trajectory mid-flight. Want to get up close and personal? A trusty knife is all it takes. Reservations about killing people? There are plenty of non-lethal options as well, and who knows, maybe people will be grateful that you didn't put a hole through them. This is not the end, however. In fact, that's just the appetizer for the real star of the show. On top of the variety in weapons and hacking potential, DDS throws the gates of hell open with dozens of wildly unique perks and active abilities that can completely change how the game functions, allowing you to mix and match any three of each together for maximum build variety. As the cherry on top of this chaotic potential, unlocking new abilities and perks makes them permanently and freely accessible to select before missions, so you aren't punished for experimenting as often as you want. Do you prefer to play games as a silent cyber ghost undetectable by enemy systems? Would you rather hack into everything from a nice cozy room and make your enemies destroy themselves at the press of a button? How about stabbing the energy out of your enemies with a needle and using that to raise an army of the dead? Maybe instead of an army, you just want to drop holy or unholy abominations into the center of a room and watch the chaos. Pack a high-damage sniper rifle and turn it into a triple-barreled machine gun of instant death. Destroy the game's time mechanics to move faster than the Flash and blow up whatever you touch. It's incredible just how much you can get away with in this game, with the full, enthusiastic support of the developer. Now, with all of this in mind, all of the ways you can exploit the game's mechanics, break systems, and overwhelm your enemies, all I can say is that, well, you're going to need it. To say that this game is punishing, like Hotline Miami, is to compare a splash with a tsunami. In Hotline Miami, a game with a similar style of basic gameplay mechanics, you die in one hit no matter what, and keep pushing to get through each level without dying. It's fast, frantic, and strategic. Punishing, but easy to keep repeating over and over. Now, imagine that same game giving you more agency over your tactics and maybe even a little more health, but every time you die, you have to foreclose on your house and file for bankruptcy. Such is the average experience with Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum. However, the most important part of this system, and the reason you shouldn't immediately mark this title off as get good rage bait, is that it's completely by narrative design. When I previously talked about the world of DDS, a corporate-owned capitalistic nightmare, this is more than just background for the plot, it is the plot. You're trapped in debt to your employer as your missions to pay it off only keep adding millions more to that staggering number, and that's without mentioning the daily interest fee stacked on top. The only way to pay off this debt is to be perfect from the start in a game that punishes the slightest missteps, especially early on before you've upgraded your abilities and learned more about how the game functions. As a result, you'll most likely see that debt increasing the longer you play. You're starting with jobs that pay tens of thousands of dollars, but each death costs $1 million. Your mistakes start to set you back farther and farther from your goal. What was once trying to pay off your debt is now just trying to keep it from going up another digit. This punishment is by design. In a reflection of current-day capitalism, falling deep into debt throws you into a cycle of giving everything you have, only for that debt to increase even more. The system is set up to fail you, to keep you trapped in place while the corporation makes money from your labor, and not even death is an escape. Most of your coworkers are in the same situation as you, pawns to the corporation who kill and get killed over and over in a never-ending cycle of debts and repayments. You're not meant to pay this debt off at first, and, contrary to what you would expect, that downward spiral is actually what leads you to the most content this game has to offer. Some people will offer you a sneaky way out, a major score, the promise of treasure, or even completely different end goals altogether through the multitude of secret routes and branching paths that each questline has to offer. As your desperation grows, who will you trust and who will you betray to escape from the corporation's clutches? This next section is one of my absolute favorite aspects of Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum: Subversion. While I'm avoiding story-related spoilers for the narratives branching through DDS, and the things I'm showing are also teased in trailers, I'm including a timestamp for the next section if you're already sold on playing the game and want to completely avoid knowing some of the specific ways that this game messes with the player. Of course, I feel that talking about these things is extremely important for the message I'm trying to get across, and it's definitely the biggest chapter of the video, but I understand if you want every detail saved for yourself. Alright, now that those losers are gone, just kidding, please don't hate me, let's dive into what made DDS stand out to me the most, and easily landed a spot in this series. Let's start with the subversion in the art style, one of the main draws from the marketing materials that influenced me to play this in the first place. Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum, on the surface, is comprised of sleek, minimalistic pixel art with a heavy emphasis on readability. This style is perfect for a game that demands so much precision for its players, and it pairs really nicely with the game's soft soundtrack and smooth background patterns. It was easier to adapt to each mission as I got used to how everything looks and behaves. Then, I received a different kind of mission from any others I had received before. The objective? Walk into an empty apartment, download data, and leave. No enemy bases, no sabotage, just download and walk away. What an easy one, I thought to myself. That's exactly what it was too. I walked in, grabbed the data, and walked back out. The screen faded to black, and then I was back. Download data. Did I do it wrong? I walked back into the apartment, exactly the same as before, and downloaded the data again, my gun fixed at the door in case I was being played. Download complete. I walked back down the hall, glass shattered just out of view. The windows are gone. I peek inside every room, waiting for an enemy to try to sneak up on me, but there was nothing there. I started to walk back, and noticed that the back door is open, and, as my vision barely squeezes through that doorway, something slips into the darkness. I run to the exit to leave this mission, and the screen fades to black. Again. The windows are back, but the apartment complex is bigger, more hallways stretching around my objective. I start the download, and a chill runs down my spine as I hear that sound. A faint buzzing that grows louder and louder, doors opening and closing down the hall, something coming straight toward me. Then, the door opened. And just like those windows from before, my entire perception of this game was shattered as I was greeted by this unexpected abomination. This game was never the same for me after that. Glimpses of rooms with nightmarish photographic backgrounds, 3D models peering at me from underneath my feet, and plenty of other horrors lurking in what initially sounded like the most mundane of missions. DDS, even just through its art, subverts and takes advantage of your expectations, bringing so much tension to anything that feels even a little off. However, the game definitely doesn't just stop at appearances. Not just for horror, DDS's subversion tactics are littered throughout the game, and utilized in very different ways. Through dialogue, even the most ridiculous or seemingly terrible responses can lead you down completely different story paths. Missions can hide strange secrets with huge rewards for those willing to explore. Your relationships with characters can bring unexpected consequences. Even walking into your own bathroom can lead to more secrets to uncover. One of the memories that really stuck with me was actually such an inconsequential detail in the grand scheme of things. I was not getting along with one of the other employees, and even went out of my way to massively spite them just to see what would happen. I expected the threats. What I didn't expect was not one, but 2 mines hidden behind doors in my own home, the only location that was supposed to be safe in this game. This small interaction alone opened my eyes to how much work the developer has put into every little detail of this experience. Not only crafting all of these story paths to tumble into, but making even the smallest interactions feel real and impactful. This subversion is also used, quite well, for comedic purposes. The world of Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum may be bleak, but that won't stop the developer from being absolutely silly. The hidden horrors of DDS are juxtaposed by ridiculous conversations, unexpected sound effects, unfortunate secret messages, and plenty more as you take the time to explore and experiment with everything the game has to offer. This title knows when to hit you hard and when to make you chuckle, somehow balancing out its tone even with how complex everything feels. Speaking of feeling, I say we top this video off with some grade A vibes. Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum, despite how drenched in despair and blood it is, has one of the most mellow and relaxing soundtracks I've experienced in a game. Rather than blasting the player with heavy metal to pump adrenaline through your veins, or even a groovy electro-synth beat that keeps the energy high, DDS took the bold and brilliant choice of going all in on the chill vibes. This soundtrack does a lot of heavy lifting for the player's experience, lulling you into a more relaxed and level-headed approach to complex situations, as well as alleviating frustrations when things don't go as planned. Plus, it's now one of my go-to albums for work playlists. It's even playing right now while I'm typing this script. While this isn't a big section of the video, I felt that it was completely necessary to talk about all on its own, as the soundtrack has a part to play throughout every other aspect of what makes this title feel so great to play. With this, I think it's time that I finally wrapped up my thoughts on this amazing experience. Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum, much like its name, is a complex and unexpected indie gem. I've been obsessively glued to my screen for the last week, trying to uncover everything this game has to give, and I still haven't completely unraveled its expansive web of storylines and secrets. DDS is a constantly shifting work of art, stuffed to the brim with interesting and well-thought-out ideas, but, most importantly, it was fun. No matter what strategies I brought to the table, no matter what playstyle I aimed toward, no matter how many times I died in the process, and it was a lot, I never once wanted to stop playing this game. Long after the credits rolled, I continued on just to see how things had changed from my ending, which was only one in a sea of possibilities. With the arrival of the 1.0 release on the day this video is going live, there will be even more this game has to offer. That's right, I'm not even playing the full release yet, but it's already a complete and well-crafted experience. After its launch, the developer has even more features planned that I'm very excited about, like a roguelike mode and a New Game Plus function, which will definitely hold me hostage even longer than the game already has at this point. DDS is so far from normal, and overflowing with the personality of its developer. The weaving of its storylines and the complexity of everything hidden within them form a unique experience that it's hard to pull away from, inflicting the player with an insatiable craving to turn every stone and comb every inch of its deceptively simple environments. Plus, with the multitudes of vastly different playstyles and the resulting ability to break this challenging game to pieces, it's just pure fun all around. With all of this in mind, it's very easy for me to tell you that you should play Deadeye Deepfake Simulacrum. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I had to put a lot of work in to get this beast done in time for the release day, so any interactions you can give this video would be a gigantic help for my small channel. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Backpack Comics, who voiced the introduction tape in this video for me. Go check out that channel for deeper dives into the same kind of games I like to talk about here, featuring expansive lore discussions of the darkest and most disturbing games you haven't heard of. If you like what I'm doing, you'll definitely have a good time there. Another massive thank you, of course, to the developer No Day Shall Erase You for giving me a key to the game, as well as Shodanon, who you may know from their game Parapecia, for popping into my DMs to introduce me to the game and offer it in the first place. I truly appreciate it when people bring attention to these weird, unconventional, and underappreciated indies, so feel free to shout out anything else you think I should check out in the comments. I also currently livestream on Saturdays, where I check out all kinds of indie horror games, and Sundays, where I create and teach 3D animations live with all of you. There's also a Discord channel for all of you weirdos to talk about games and share art, plus all of that other social media nonsense, which can all be found in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.